Hello, friends and adventurers. I'm M, and today I want to tell you about how to describe and run a fantasy guild. Welcome to the DM table. By fantasy guild, I mean whatever guild you may want to have, whether it's a thieves guild or a knight order or adventurers society or whatever else organization you may want to have in your campaign for your role playing or in your fantasy book or whatever, as long as it's something akin to a classical thieves guild or such organization. I'll show you how it works. So thus far, what I've had issue with when reading many a novel and such, I guess especially when reading novels, I ran into the situation where the writer believes that it's enough to sort of vaguely introduce an organization, a guild or something like that, and then characters that are members there, that have background there, that have pasts there, should take over and carry everything with their strength of personality or whatever have you. But once this escalates to the point where there should be situations that deal with this background in the said guild, then we have this murky feeling of it all being nebulous and not very to the interest of the reader. Why? Because the guild was essentially only introduced through its title, and everything else was discarded until later it might be needed, because the writer was in the belief that the audience sees what they see without any description. They have gotten their backstory in their head about their guild, and they expect the reader to somehow do the same. And yet, that's not how it works, and it's not interesting when you try to just have people be members of a once named organization that just stands there, and well, that can work, but with sufficient mystery and purpose and framing, but not as a matter-of-fact thing like before. So what do we do when we're doing tabletop or writing or whatnot? We want to keep pace with this. We want to introduce it either early and ahead or keep pace with it and have all kinds of customs and culture and mechanics and situations that are normal, that are natural for the organization, be presented and pop up throughout. Ahead first, before we go into the depths of questing about them, for them, or against them. We want, when we are presenting such a thing in our campaign, we want it to give some ground of how it feels, how it works, why is it important, and why is it cool. And yes, you want to go for romanticizing the thing, because no matter whether it's good or bad and what you feel about it, unless you really want to go nasty with it, you want to present why something that is more permanent, because if it's short term and it's about to fall down, you don't have to do this because it's obviously inefficient, so it's gonna lose and fall. But if it isn't, if it's supposed to be a permanent or almost permanent fixture to your campaign or story, then you want to sort of show it off in a way where it presents why is it still standing, how is it doing it, why can it afford to be that good or that bad, how can it bridge these, well, consequences of a big organization existing in the world, because you need to run all these people. So you want to show off the efficiency, the logistics, the power, the influence, and the philosophy, the creed, the culture, because without the culture, organization cannot exist, because people don't really want to serve it. Sometimes you want to think that this can happen because of money, but you still have to show the mindset. How do they live day to day? How do they survive under these conditions? How does this organization feed the psychology of its members into working further into the feeling of what it is to be a member, what it is to be part of it, what it is to be this organization? Because even if they're not doing it intentionally and directly, they are doing it indirectly. Even a baker's guild has this, because you will have a hobbyist, or even not so hobbyist, but direct business and craft and art related guild of people that work on making their bread and whatever baked goods they are making. So they'll have some sort of culture, like any hobby would be having, like any craft would be having, like any environment of work and meeting other people would be having. And this all leaves marks. These marks are frequently called in literature professional deformations, but they're not necessarily deformations. You can have all kinds of positive, neutral, and even some negative marks that the place of work, the place of interest, the place of exchange between people leaves on them. You can have all that, and this makes for a flavorful, recognizable organization. Now that you have thought about this and can describe it, you can also go through the motions of what happens. What does one bread go through from being made to being sold? What does one new rogue go through from being recruited to being tested to being a member of a rogues guild, and what do they do then? What happens? What kind of friends do they make? And what do they do in day-to-day lives? What functions do they fulfill? What else happens, and what else has these little intricacies that pop up from the background doing what we just discussed in the background? And that background indeed gets shown through acting it out, through business as usual, through one of those show don't tell things, but you are telling. You're a DM, you always talk, and everything happens because of your words. All pictures become reality from your speeches, so you are essentially acting out that you're showing and not telling, even though you're telling. So remember this, and therefore make for a good enough simulation to be able to show that day-to-day work, that atmosphere, that culture, those customs, those pieces of logic that dictate how the organization acts between each other, with their members, with their high-ups, with their low ranks. How do they act? Why do they act like that? And what does it all mean in the end? And you don't have to pre-simulate everything and go excessive in the world building, because all of this can be sort of felt in between some theories and some short notes that you made a little bit ahead of time and then thought about how they intertwine with the rest of the world, because you'll get most information from how does your organization fit with the rest of the world and why. Why are they in the world? What does the world make people do that they would do so that this organization becomes a reality? And then you can polish them up and, as I said, romanticize them further with abilities that these people that have perhaps magical abilities, greater talents, better personalities, interestinger lives, how do they manage to do this a bit better than already in a random, tried and true manner that you have learned off of a history book or a novel or something else, whatever it is that you have watched or read. So that's how you set up an organization that you'll be describing in your work of role-playing or other fun media. Also remember to make it about fun things, to make it about interesting things that you and your players share as focus of interest. Don't burden your audience with stuff that they don't wanna have anything to do with. As usual, check player preferences before you even start, so that you know whether this sort of thing is what they want. And if they do, then you will be doing lots of that. So, adventurer, if you thought this was unique or helpful, maybe you can give me a click and I could see you here next and perhaps every week. Until then, I wish you luck on your adventures and to see you here again soon. Write to me in the comments if you want to have me talk to you about something. See you later. Bye.